Good day, my name is Scott Kinney with Discovery Education, and this is our One Idea series. Today I have the pleasure of being joined by an old friend and colleague, Zach Leverenz, who is the CEO of EveryoneOn. So, Zach, if people aren't familiar with what exactly the mission of EveryoneOn is, could you show us in a brief minute?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Scott, for the invitation. EveryoneOn is a national nonprofit that is driven to close the digital divide. Digital divide is a word that has been around for several decades now, but it's never been more costly in the way we think about the essential use of the internet to do everything from homework to online job applications to applying for colleges to managing health. So at the end of the day, we do three things that I think have been correlated directly with closing that divide. One is reducing the price point to make sure the internet is affordable, high speed, and accessible, but mostly affordable. And secondly, we also work with national nonprofits, libraries, and a host of community organizations across the country in all 49 states today, but all 50 in the near future, to do training, onboarding, and digital literacy. That's a really important part of the problem, is making sure that it's relevant and that the skills are in place. So we do those three things in making sure that we can eventually bend the curve on national broadband adoption for 60 million people who still don't have home internet.
Wow. So given the focus across the country in K-12 schools around the digital conversion and people starting to use the internet more and more in their classrooms and even at home, what is your relationship? What does your work in K-12 look like?
Yeah, and I have an education background myself. I love the transition that's happening. It's exciting. There's a lot of collective will at last to get this done, to do it the right way, to think about the whole ecosystem of digital learning. A big part of that transition needs to be thinking about the equity of these digital tools outside of the classroom. And there's a lot of ways to get there. Our fear is that as we continue to push forward with the new kind of innovations around interactive, individualized learning in K-12, that we may neglect a big part of the assumption or premise that we're all working under, which is that when you leave the school walls, you still are connected, right? Anytime, anywhere. Learning must include internet access at home or a device at home, or anchor institutions that provide those opportunities are also very important. But at the end of the day, if we don't make sure that for our poor students, who, by the way, are already our most marginalized African American, Latino students, that they have the same opportunities to connect. Now that it's the assumption, not just the luxury, to do homework at line and to research, then we're going to further deepen achievement gaps as opposed to realizing and unlocking the full potential of what digital learning promises.
Is there an example that you could show or that you could talk about where you're working with the school system to help bridge that?
Absolutely, and I'll give you both sides of the story in terms of before the solution was implemented and now today. Miami-Dade worked really closely with the school district, and particularly Deb Karcher, the CTO, has been, I think, a progressive leader in this space. She and I spoke recently and did a kind of a debrief on where they are today, so it's a really great time to have this conversation. But I'll start with the demographics and the scale of the issue in Miami-Dade. Somewhere around 30% of students do not have home internet. While the district pushes forward and advances one-to-one device deployments and digital learning curriculum, Deb realized, hey, this is a big problem. And there's actually a couple good pieces. One in Miami Herald, another one in the Fusion, which is Univision and online TV outlet, did a piece about a family who tries to sprint in their four kids, sprint to the library as soon as school's over, hope to get in line for a 30-minute slot on the computer, do as much as they can as the clock literally ticks down on their homework, and when it's done, the screen goes blank, and you have to go home, right, or wait for the next time that the computer becomes available. It's about living on the wrong side of this advancement and this innovation. And if that's the case, we really are doing a disservice. So what Deb and her team have done is invested been very creative in the way they think about their capital expense and operating expense budgets, and invested in home internet devices and plans through EveryoneOn. It really just kind of raised about $10 per month for one plan, and free through ConnectEd Sprint's offer for the other plan, $3,000 in total, and deployed them to the students who need them most across the district. And it's inclusive, meaning that families themselves don't need to qualify in the way that we understand some of the previous solutions, like Cable Solutions, Internet Essentials, has done this in the past. They're really great in providing an opportunity, but too restrictive sometimes for a school district to get behind it and do it at scale. So that's what's happening in Miami-Dade. In this first pilot, 3,000 devices are being used by students to do homework, and really by the whole family, by the way, as part of a larger value in getting the education imperative to be realized here for the folks that we're trying to teach.
When you look at EveryoneOn and your vision over the next few years, and you might have referred to it with the kind of the restrictive nature of who's able to access what programs, what are the big challenges? Are there others, or is that one of the big ones?
Yeah. Thought a lot about this because we're at broadband adoption levels have kind of flatlined over the last 3-4 years. About 75% of the country has broadband at home in any format. There's actually a larger percentage of that 75% who are just using DSL or even dial-up, unfortunately. But the bottom line is there's 25% who don't have it, and not even on their phones, right? This is an issue where the unit economics around data plans for cell phones prevent additional barriers, but we do believe mobile can be a solution. So where I think this is going is in two ways. One, I think there needs to be a market solution for education that addresses out-of-school home internet connectivity. It can't be a kind of consumer-level repurposed product the way we've seen that happen in past for software and hardware. It actually needs to be something that's designed for schools and districts and states, and even at the federal level, to be able to deploy in bulk to students who need it. And we need to have also, I think, a lot more conversation, at least, with providers and even at the regulatory level around what is broadband for students, how essential is it to the macroeconomics of the country, what is the cost of exclusion. You know, a lot of folks kind of bucket home internet into anything that's discounted, at least into this philanthropic space. We all lose if 60 million people continue to be disconnected, and if our brightest asset of the future and our students are sitting out with this disadvantage, it's going to be a very bleak decade or two as we think about jobs.
Well, as districts move forward with their digital plans and their digital transitions, I know certainly one of the things that we hear, and it's certainly a top of mind, is that equity and that homework gap or the digital divide, or however we phrase it. And so, Zach, if I'm a superintendent or a building principal who really wants to attack this problem and do it with your organization, how do I learn more?
So there's really great time to be a superintendent to attack this. I'll say it. You can come to EveryoneOn.org or email directly info@EveryoneOn.org, and there's a whole suite of offers now that we've been able to make available to districts and schools that include, for example, under the ConnectEd Future Ready initiative, free home internet service for students in an inclusive format for 4 years through Sprint and also AT&T and Verizon making similar offers, but the Sprint offer is actually at a scale that I think over the next 4 years can really tip the momentum on this. And so we would work with you to understand the coverage, understand your needs. We go end-to-end on the procurement process to make sure that it's in a budget cycle that makes sense, and really just handhold and answer questions, facilitate and translate sometimes with the private sector partner is another role that we play. But just reach out, and that's what we do. It's our mission mandate. We're ready to help every district connect their kids at home.
Great. Well, this is One Idea with CEO Zach Leverenz. Zach, I know personally, and our organization is incredibly supportive of your work and the great work of EveryoneOn. So thanks for taking the time to chat with us today.
Appreciate it. We love what you guys are doing too to push this forward. We know that it's not just about home internet, of course. We think it's an important piece to complete what you guys are already doing in schools and across the country to make digital learning a reality for all students. So thank you for your good work too.
Yeah, thanks, Zach. Take care. Have a great day.